Hey, thank you for coming by Tori Magoo 44. Today is the 5th of February. Moving right along, 2011, and this is my series Then and Now. So this is going to be on sex and families. Then and now. Now, when I first got in Scientology, of course, I've told you this before, I was a hippie right out of San Francisco, and sex was very, very prevalent in those days. We were in our 20s, and that's generally true for a lot of 20-year-olds. Hopefully now you are using protection, which none of us were back then. I mean, they probably had protection, but certainly none of us were using it, aware of it, anything like that. And now I can't say it enough, definitely use protection. So you don't get any of these weird things that are going on and you live a long life. Um, but back then, anyway, we were partying a lot. We were having a lot of fun. There wasn't, I can't speak for Hubbard and the ship because that's a whole different thing. You'll have to hear from somebody else and read about it. I wasn't there. But in the Scientology community, as far as I knew, there wasn't a lot of stops on sex at the time. They were very pro-family, and they still are pro-family, as long as you're going along with their program. Now, back then, like I said, they hadn't declared a lot of people suppressive, so you really weren't aware of them breaking up these families like they do now. Throughout my lifetime in Scientology, more and more people got declared. As they got declared, more people, the families get broken up. I remember talking to parents where they were like, well, I'm just going to kick my kid out of my house because he's not a Scientologist and he's on drugs and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, wait a minute, you're the parent. Do you know what I mean? To me, parenting is first, before Scientology, no matter what. You're their parent. You gave birth to them. So never forget that. And most parents don't. It's usually the church that cuts off the family, that won't allow the children to talk to their parents. And this increased as the years went on. And sex got weirder and weirder. I mean, until on OT7, they came out with, I forget what it's even called, but it's some sexual policy about how it's really just an aberration. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It was very, very different from what it first started out with. And before I say anything else, thank you to the evils of Scientology. That's a person who reminded me that my videos were getting very dark. And I really didn't, I sort of noticed it, but I didn't know how to fix it. And so I asked him, I think it's him, and he said, check your settings. So I've changed my settings so it's a little bit brighter. But if you have any suggestions, you can always let me know, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you. So back to Scientology then and now, as far as sex and families. Like for me, as a hippie, I was pretty much disconnected from my family, not because of Scientology, just because I was a crazy wild thing and, just too busy being into stuff and not with them. Then I got into Scientology and they were like, we're very pro-family. And you can see, if you ever read What is Scientology, in the hardback, I'm in it. And my win with my parents, because immediately, and this is kind of a blessing for me, because immediately I reconnected with my parents. I sat down and wrote my father this long letter telling him how much I loved him, how much I was sorry for a bunch of the things I had done, and what my plans were for the future. And lo and behold, I was on the communication course and I get this emergency phone call, and it's from my mom. Your dad, at 51 years old, had a full physical, came home, had a heart attack, and died. And it was like a huge tragedy for our whole family. Tons of people all of my life have told me, oh, I wish I could have told your dad this. I wish I could have thanked him, because my father helped a lot of people. And so I always say to people, tell people how you feel, because you never know when they're not going to be there the next day. And you're going to wish you were one of those people. And I had the lucky blessing of having written him that letter. Anyway, so he passed away shortly after that. My mom was very much against Scientology, and as I've told you, saved my life as far as medicine, because I joined a Sea Org soon after that. They made me get off my medication, and as my mom said, they're going to kill you. And you know what? That's another video that I'm going to go into. But long story short, I reconnected with my family. thankfully. And we both, before my mom died, agreed. She was thrilled when I left Scientology. So were most of my family. But she agreed two good things happened with me getting in Scientology. One, I totally stopped doing drugs, which I wasn't like a drug addict, but I was a social druggie. And it was just like, we don't do that. I was like, okay, that's it. End of story. But the other thing was we, as a family, I connected with my parents. And even though my mother was against Scientology, I stayed in touch with her all of her life, because she's my mom. And I always felt that way. So anyway, now they have a lot of different things. Way back then, Hubbard said, like I said, don't really disconnect from people. Try to handle it. If you have to, do good roads, fair weather, which is pretty much what I did with my mom. And even my brothers who are not Scientologists agreed that was the best thing, because she was, she had her own stuff going on. So that worked out for all of us. But now with David Miscavige, people are declared, like, you say anything, you're declared, and then no one can talk to you. Not anybody. You're completely, once you're declared suppressive, that's it. No one in the Church of Scientology can talk to you, even if it's your family, your loved ones, your mother, your father. And to any children out there, if you're lurking and you're in the Church of Scientology, I cannot say it enough. Call your parents. Stay connected. Don't put Scientology over your family, because as much as they've tricked you into thinking your family and your loved ones are horrible, they're not. They're there for you. And if you want to come out, come on out, because a ton of us are out here and having an excellent time. And your family, believe it or not, no matter how much has gone down, would love to talk to you. I know that's true. I talk to enough families. All right. So remember, this is the month of love. And Valentine's Day is getting even closer. I love you all. See, I got on my Valentine's earring. There you go. If you have any questions, ask me. I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to answer as best I can. And to anybody that is helping expose the abuses of the Church of Scientology, excellent. Next weekend is a global picket celebrating everyone who has helped, get people out of Scientology, Anonymous, the critics. It's Anonymous's 3rd anniversary, but there's tons of people before them that have helped people for years. Come on out and picket. We're going to make it in honor of Anonymous and Ida Camburn, who passed away September 1st and was one of the early fighters. Her son is still in the Church of Scientology. And Ida, I miss her. I really do. Peace out to all of you. Have a fantastic weekend.